pick it up from there. So here's the goal. The goal is that it would be fruitful for you. The goal that is that we would have fruitful ministry. We want to have fruitful ministry. We don't want to just build the church for the sake of building our name or building our brand or building anything other than the kingdom of God for the glory of God, because that would be the most foolish thing that anybody possibly could ever do. So we don't want that. What we want is we want to glorify Jesus in seeing people who are far from God come close to God. That should be the mission of every single pastor out there. All right? So that is our goal. That is our aim, because we know at the end of the day that we don't want to hear, hey, I never knew you. Depart from me, you wicked person. All right? You've done all this stuff, but you have not glorified my name. So having said that, here's the truth. The truth is you can't build an A-quality church on C-quality performance. You cannot do it. It's impossible. So how is it that we can rate ourselves, judge ourselves, get ourselves by God's grace to where we are actually performing better so that more people can actually come to know Jesus? Because remember, I told you, you've got to constantly evaluate your church, because every first-time guest is already evaluating your church. So you must do it first. The whole objective of a leader is to get to reality. So when you grow up and you're mature enough to get to reality, then you can actually start to grow, because you can look at the things that you don't do well and you can actually fix them. So if you were to rate yourself A, B, C, D, or F, how would you rate how you do what you do? There are so many different things that you can rate. You can rate your planning skills. You can rate your preaching skills. You can rate your vision skills. You can rate your ability to gather a leadership team. You can rate all of that stuff. And if you're honest, you can say, hey, this is a C, this is a D, this is an F. I need to bring this up. I need to get that better within myself so that the church, the organization, can get better as well. All right, so that here is the ability to be able to rate your church is going to work in conjunction with what we're going to talk today about vision, strategy, and execution. All right, so there are basically three camps of leaders that are people that we fall into, three camps. All right, so you have your vision, you have your strategy, and you have your execution. Your visionists are really your big vision, your senior leader, your pastor, whoever that is. All right, so this is the guy that literally hears from God, paints an ideal picture of what should be, what could be, what must be, based on the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I believe Mark 9:23, what's impossible for man is not impossible with God. All right, and kind of gives the direction of the church. How would you rate your vision on A, B, C, D, or F if you can't build an A-quality church on C-quality performance? So you have Proverbs 29:18, which we all know, without vision the people perish. Where are you going? What are you doing? A leader's job is to move people from here to there. How is your ability to move people from here to there? Are you painting an ideal picture? Now, the thing is with leaders, we sometimes get lofty, crazy ideas, and those things are okay as long as we have somebody to ground us, somebody to put us down, bring us down to earth, as it were. So this big vision person is a big picture and a direction person. All this stuff comes from God. Getting along with God. God's never going to do something through you until he first does something to you. You don't want to get to the end of your race and realize that you had ran in vain. How foolish would that be? And that's why I believe that pastors are some of the most jacked up, egocentric people on the planet, on the face of the earth. I love all of them. I'm one of them too. But we have to make sure that we're getting with God. What has God given us in the way of vision? What does he want us to do uniquely on this planet that is different from what everybody else is doing? And I'm not saying that you have to be like completely do something that no one's ever seen before. I'm just saying, what is it that he wants you to do? Get alone with Jesus. That's where all of this starts. If you don't have a vision, you don't have much. So therefore, there are a lot of guys that I coach and deal with that really struggle in this area. If I were to have you rate yourself and what your vision of your church is, what would you rate yourself? A vision has to be so clearly thought through that it's ambiguous, but yet it's awesome. Like Bono, the lead singer of U2, his vision for philanthropy and feeding hungry people in Africa is this: simple, making hunger history. Now, it's very vague, but you get the point. He wants to kill hunger. So how do you do that? You do that by strategy, but that's the big vision for his organization. What's the big vision for your organization? Do you have one? I was literally at a church of 4,400 people, and they did not have a vision. They themselves, the staff, said, we don't have a vision. We work from project to project, but we don't have a vision, an overarching vision for our church. What's your vision for your church? Do you have one? How would you rate yourself? If you don't have a vision for your church, that's F work, D work. If you go from project to project, this month you're doing that, next month you're doing that, it's okay. It's maybe C work, but you've got to have a clear, tangible, transferable direction that your church is going toward. Ours is to make life change possible. That's what we choose to try to do every single week, is make life change possible. So you have your visionaries that usually end up in this camp. And then you have your strategist. Your strategist works on effectiveness. They're not efficiency people, they're effectiveness people. They are mature enough to know that if it doesn't work, they're going to kill it. If it doesn't work, they're not going to keep doing it. A lot of pastors and really pastors like to change things, but a lot of the board members are like, well, we've been doing that forever, but is it effective? If it's not effective, take it out behind a shed and kill it, okay? So effectiveness, that is a leadership trait. And what strategy is effectively inventing, creating, and support and implementing strategies to support the vision effectively. That's what it is. All right, so we have the vision of making life change possible, or making hunger history. Fine. What is the strategy that we're going to use to do that? How are we actually going to make that happen on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on an annual basis? What is it that's going to happen to make that happen? So you have some strategists here that work real good with details. Vision people don't work good with details. And what tends to happen, at least in my life and in churches that I've seen and consulted with, is that these people try to do these people's jobs, and it just doesn't work. Vision people need to stick to vision things. Now, when your church is just starting, the pastor is not only the lead visionary, but the lead strategist and the lead executionist and the lead janitor and the lead preacher and singer and probably everything. But you've got to grow to the point where you have developed some strategists. So as the senior leader, how would you rate yourself, A, B, C, D, or F, on creating some people, some teams of people around you that can effectively, clearly strategize to make your vision become a reality? How would you rate yourself with that? All right? You don't have to have the best people, the most pristine people. You just have to have the people that God has given you, and who can you use to develop into those leaders that can truly help you carry out the vision that God has given you. All right? So you rate yourself on that. Your strategists, your leaders, making this possible. Then you have the people in your church that are the executionists, and I don't mean the people that kill you. I mean the people that literally, and they do kill you if they're not doing their job right, but these are the people that think in terms of efficiency. They don't want to know whether or not it's effective. They want to know whether or not it works. Efficiency in terms of, can we make this better? These are your managers in most companies. These are the people that are in charge of just taking the policies that the strategists and the visionary have made or implemented, and it's their job to execute. All right, in our churches, these are the volunteers. Do the volunteers have a clear strategy because the strategists have a clear vision to be able to execute what it is that they need to execute on a Sunday or whatever you're trying to, a big event or whatever it is, right? So these people are just like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Just tell me what to do. I'll get it done. Please just tell me what to do and I'll do it. All right. Some people work like that. They're wired like that. That's their why. Tell me what to do and I'll get it done. And some people don't. They hate living in this camp. And you can kind of see in your own leadership team, I just did this with my leadership team, where people fit. Almost every single person on the team was in this camp. And that's great. That's who you want in your meetings, your strategy meetings, strategists. And you don't want people that just will say, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Right? Because then you're going to be frustrated because you have to not only come up with a vision, but come up with a strategy, and then you have to tell them what to do. And this is where churches get confused and vision is muddy, and we rate ourselves and we're not doing very good, and we're not really reaching people for Christ, and we get so frustrated. And I understand all of that. You have these three different types of people: visionaries, strategists, and executionists. And it's your job as the lead visionary to get the right people in the right place on the bus. Every one of them are important. All right, the lead visionary is not more important than the people who are serving. Your church is only as strong as the people who are serving. But the people aren't going to know why to serve unless you provide a clear vision for them that has clear strategies to support that vision so that they can actually execute in a healthy manner. I hope that makes sense to you, okay? So let me just break this down practically as we discuss Easter and beyond, and it won't take very long. My goal is just to simply be helpful. Please, Jesus, let me be helpful to somebody here who maybe hasn't thought in these terms or had anybody explain things like this, who feels stuck in their ministry and what they're trying to do, all right? So we have Easter. Obviously, it is this Sunday. So basically, by God's grace alone, maybe it's not too late to do something to be able to leverage this time of year, okay? But we have Easter coming, and it literally is just several days away. So the vision would be, okay, what are we going to do with Easter? How are we going to make Easter a success? What does a success for Easter look like? And you've got to truly define what that is. Is it a certain number? Is it a certain number on Sunday? Is it a certain number of salvations? Is it a certain number of first-time guests? Those are three different numbers. Who comes on Sunday? How many are first-time guests? And how many salvations you have? All right, three different, very different numbers. But you, as the leader, have to define what the win is for Easter. Okay, so we have Easter here. That is the vision. Okay, we'll start there. All right, so our strategy for our vision needs to be developed right here. That's where you get the right people on the bus around the table, discussing, talking, not everybody looking at you, but then they look at each other and they try to figure out strategies. You sit back and you listen, maybe give guidance where it needs to be given, but you listen, all right? Your words weigh more than everyone else's words for the sheer simple fact that you're the lead pastor. You're the one that started this thing. So you have to be very careful not to use your words. Be quiet 10, 15, 20 seconds longer than you think you should be and see if they can come up with an answer themselves that is helpful. But for us, for Easter, we really want to drive people to church because we fully believe that this is one of the great opportunities in our region in this time of year that people will be more open to the idea of coming to church. So as a result of that, we really want to see the numbers go up. We want to see first-time guests go up. So overall numbers, first-time guests, and we want to see salvations. That's what we want to see. Those are the three things that we're looking at this Easter. So we strategize around these three things right here for Easter. How do we do that? Now, it's a little bit too late for you to do this, probably, unless you can act or react quickly and you can get like a gift card situation going. But we've chosen to do giveaways. I'll explain more of that in the execution side. We've chosen to do giveaways, and we've chosen to ramp it within our church 3 weeks before, and on social media, 3 weeks before the actual thing started. And then we use social media also as a strategy to leverage the giveaways. And we have also created a culture of invitation. Those are the 3 things we've done to maximize Easter. And who knows if it's going to work. It's worked in the past. We'll see. We'll beg God to do something awesome. But again, giveaways, that seems like a giveaway. It seems like that's so simple. You do a giveaway. But I can't tell you how many pastors will try to do a big event on like a Saturday, the day before Easter Sunday, pass out 1,000 waters, pass out information or whatever, and nobody shows up on Sunday. Okay, to me, I think that's a bad strategy. It's just a bad strategy. All right. So in the execution side over here, what we do with giveaways, okay, what we do with giveaways is we, of course, first poll people on Facebook to see what they would like. So months ago, I polled my friends on Facebook to see what they would like more out of a Kalahari trip, which is an indoor water park, $200 cash, or big screen TV. Now, you might get offended that I would do that, but that's okay, because the bottom line is people at our churches don't come to our churches all the time because they want this deeper, vicarious relationship with Jesus. Sometimes people who are far from God, if that's who you're reaching, need another extra motivation to actually go and show up. So this is proved to work for us here. So that's why we do giveaways as a strategy that we execute in a pretty cool way. So basically, I saw a lot of people say that they like these things. And then all of a sudden we decided, okay, well, we're going to make this a giveaway where the first-time guest is going to be drawn. And if that person wins, the person that brought them also gets to pick those 3 things. So essentially we're giving away 2 things, two gifts, all right, to the person who's a first-time guest and also the person who brought them. That means the more first-time guests this person brings, okay, the more opportunity that he or she have to win. It just works. I'm not saying that it's right. I know it's not wrong. I'm just saying that it certainly works. This is a strategy to push Easter. Now, I can go into more detail about that. Basically, what else would you need to know? Essentially, for the price of right around $400, that's for both, $400, we're going to see a 30 to 40% increase in numbers. That's crazy. There are people that spend tons of money on door-to-door advertising or on signage, on billboards, on radio spots or whatever, and they don't see that kind of, return on investment. Invest in your people to bring. And that does a couple of things. It really does create a culture of invitation. But so what we do is we push that on social media. That is an execution part. And what we did was hashtag everyone matters. You might see it all this week. Everyone matters. So at creating a culture of invitation and utilizing social media for the giveaways, what we did last Sunday is we preached a sermon that was called, Why Should I Invite? So in the church, we're trying to work all of this together so that it all points to Easter. So the week before Easter, our strategy is to be pumping the giveaway is part of it, through social media, also on Sundays, and preaching a message that creates a culture of invitation. Has nothing to do with the giveaways, everything to do with evangelism. Evangelism simply is one person telling another person about something that they love. All right? So with Easter, we preached a message. We had a big, huge number 1 that we made. We had stickers like name tags. All right? Hashtag everyone matters. And they were at every single seat. So at one point in the message, I challenged them to think about, pray about, who was their Nathaniel. This came out of John chapter 1, right? Jesus found Philip, Philip found Nathaniel. Who was their Nathaniel who needed to meet Jesus and have a life change experience? Who was it? So once they thought about their Nathaniel, we had this number 1 put out in front, and then every one of them wrote down their Nathaniel and whatever his or her name was, and they went up and put that thing, that call to action, they put that tag right on that number 1. Now, when we pray, they open up our eyes, we move the number 1, we have light underneath of it, and it's blue and it's glowing, and that's what they remember. It's creating a culture of invitation. So that picture will go out on social media several times this week to get them to remember, hey, everyone matters. Who's my Nathaniel? I got to ask somebody. I got to invite somebody. Not only that, but if they come, they could win. If they win, I win. I think it's a win-win situation. So you see how all the strategy is surrounding Easter, which is a part of the vision. We want to truly capitalize on Easter so that people can hear the gospel. All right? So that is part of the execution. Hashtags, videos this week. You might see videos. Hey, I'm going to the 9 o'clock, trying to push people to the one of the 2 services, the early service that we have, all these different things, okay? That's all well and good. But then, so for you, I'll get to what we're doing next, okay? But for you, it could be gift cards. You could actually do that this week. Go out and get 2 $50 gift cards. Put it out on Facebook saying, hey, if you bring a first-time guest and they win, we'll give you a $50 gift card. We'll give them a $50 gift card if they get their name drawn for every first-time guest. All right, and we just want to bless you. The church just wanted Jesus blessed people. He fed people. He did things for people just because he is kind. And that's what we want to do as a church, is destroy the stigma that the church just wants your money. All right, so for $100, you can probably drive 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 brand new first-time guests for $100. Get a $50 gift card, put it out on social media, right? Invite to Easter. Start it now as soon as possible, okay? And then clearly just explain, for every first-time guest that comes, all right, you have an opportunity to win a $50 gift card to a certain restaurant. And if their name gets drawn, they win. So that's prime for you to just say, hey, come to my church, you might get a $50 gift card, whatever it is, all right? Something like that, or something creative, something that you do right now. You can pump on social media, you can make a few calls, tell people to tell their friends about it. I'm sure you can get 1 or 2 or 3 new families on Easter doing that. That's part of that's a strategy, that's part of the execution, how you're actually going to get that done. Hashtag it, use social media, it's your friend, it's not your enemy, it's a tool. Okay, so if Easter is the goal, what are we going to do at Easter to get them in the door, which is the giveaway? That drives the numbers, drives first-time guests, and also we have a message that's called, Why Should I Accept Christ? Pretty simple. Why should I believe? Why should I become a believer? Why should I accept Christ? So this Sunday, Easter Sunday, is all going to be a gospel evangelistic message simply geared and targeted toward those people that need to hear Jesus and respond. That's also another strategy over here, the sermon, all right, that supports the vision. So we'll have people there ready to give Bibles and pray with them. That's a part of the execution. See these different areas? You got to think through these things in order to be effective and effectively reach people for Jesus. You just got to think. You can't just expect it all to happen. It just doesn't happen like that. All right, so that message is going to be specifically geared and targeted to people who don't know Jesus, because I know that they're going to come to this service for whatever reason that they came, they're going to come. Okay, so we want to be ready, make sure our message is ready, make sure our invitation's ready, make sure the call to respond is good, the Bibles are ready, the people are ready to pray for them. All that is execution, and it all surrounds the strategy which supports the vision. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And I'll check in a little bit to see if I have any questions. But, so we've got Easter in the bag. But what is really important is the Sunday after. Because let's say you don't get any of this, stuff prepared for Easter, which I think that you can if you work now. Get your gift cards. I want to see it. Get your little video explaining it. Hashtag something. Get it on all social media outlets that you can. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you're not on those, you should be. How are you going to rate yourself if you're not on Instagram and Twitter? That's like an F or a D, okay? But we really need to be focusing on the next week. So this Sunday, Easter Sunday, you should have this planned out to where what you're actually doing is leveraging the next Sunday. All right, so we have for example, if this is the vision, the strategy is going to be this Sunday. The strategy is a video that shows life change. We're going to be doing that. That's part of the strategy. Okay, and the bigger thing that we're doing is a video that is what we call a bumper for our new sermon series, which is called #Struggles. We're going to just be talking about things that real people struggle with. And so on Sunday, if I'm a first-time guest and I came for a giveaway, but everything's done well, and I see on the screen this video that really deals with some things that I'm struggling with, be it marriage or parenting or fear or addiction or whatever it is, okay? Then I say, oh my gosh, I have a reason to come back the very next week. This is a strategy, okay? The execution was in implementing the video, creating the video, and making sure that we show the video on Sunday, all right, with our tech team, all that. But that video is simply a strategy to get people to come back. When you're thinking about Sunday, you should be thinking about how you're going to get them to next Sunday. So the week after Easter, we're also going to advertise the fact that we have baptisms. Baptisms is another strategy to get them back. People whose lives have been changed. So the very first Sunday after Easter, I believe it's April 12th, baptisms is a strategy to get them back. So you got to be talking about baptisms back here on Easter Sunday, so people know if your life was changed, we have an amazing opportunity for you to take your next step in baptism next Sunday. So make sure that you register at guest services or at the connection desk or table or booth or whatever it is, and we'll help you. We'll answer any questions you have. This is execution. Get you ready for baptism the following week. On baptism, it'd be really cool if this Sunday you worked extra hard, because this is in a window of opportunity that's awesome, and had baptism cards. Doesn't have to be anything special or, beautiful. A sheet of paper cut into 4 ways saying, you're invited to my baptism at whatever church you are a part of. And you pass them out to everybody who's getting baptized, 5 of them, so that they can invite their friends with the address and the Facebook on it. You leverage that. Okay, that is a strategy that has to be executed. Baptism cards, all right? And later on, you can make T-shirts. We have T-shirts that say, I was dunked at Movement Church. A little bag that has a T-shirt, shorts, and towels so that they don't have any excuse not to get baptized. All right? So in our, there's a reason why churches are only baptizing 1 or 2 people a year. And there's a reason why by God's grace, we're baptizing, 28, maybe 30. I don't know where we're at right now, but God's just definitely blessing it. And it's because we're willing to create a strategy and execute that strategy. So baptisms are huge the week after your deal. All right? That's also something that you need to be leveraging on Easter. It's a strategy, baptisms. Another one is your kids' incentive. Even if you have a couple of kids, throw a pizza party for the kids. So get a slide together. It doesn't have to be anything that's great. Get a slide together that says, hey, we're going to have a pizza party for the kids next week. Make sure you bring your kids back. All right, so you got to execute the pizza party. You got to advertise the pizza party on Sunday. You've got to make sure that you have people there that can cut pizza and give it to kids. Doesn't seem very difficult. All right? But that week two is what you should do. It's just a strategy, okay? So Easter, we have the giveaway. We have the, why should I invite Jesus into my heart? Why should I get saved? Those kind of things to push what we're trying to accomplish here as a strategy. And then the next week, we're doing baptism. So we're definitely launching that baptism idea on Easter where there's new people. We're doing a new sermon series, that we're promoting on Easter. And so so let's say it's the next week you have baptisms. Then during that service, you're telling everybody that there's going to be a kids incentive the next week. Come back. There's a kids incentive next week. There's a kids pizza party. Bring your kids back. All right. If their kids want to be there, they'll want to be there. That's just the way that it goes. So kids incentive, you're ramping on baptism week. And then on kids incentive week, hopefully you're staying with me here, you're ramping the fact that you're going to have ownership class next week or membership class where you can talk about all the values, get them plugged into your church, taking next steps so that people are there and plugged in and acclimated and they can start to serve and you can answer any questions that you might have. And then you just repeat the process again. So somewhere in week 2 or week 3, you have a brand new sermon series, not struggles anymore, but the brand new series that you have going on that you're beginning to ramp. And the cycle repeats itself. So it's always changing, it's always new, but it's the same thing. Okay? New incentives, new ideas, new sermon series, new promos, new ways to do it, but it's the same stuff that you're doing. It's just methodology that you're changing. The message, the message is constant. All right? So how you actually make all that happen on a Sunday, with your ownership class, you want to connect people to your core values. That is execution. That's where a lot of people drop the ball. So it shouldn't be all your strategists that are trying to execute. It should be your strategists that are getting your leaders, your managers to execute, your volunteers to execute. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So let me see if there is any question here. And I'll be right back to you. Let's see here. Just a second. Strategists that are getting your leaders, your managers. Okay. All right. So, if you happen to have any questions over anything that I've discussed, I'm going to give you my personal email, and I'd like you to go ahead and email me, and I'll follow up with you, and we'll continue this dialogue. All right, but hopefully this makes sense to you. It's helpful. Here's my email. It's jeremy@movementchurch.com. jeremy@movementchurch.com. All right? So I just want to pray with you. I hope that you have a fantastic, awesome, amazing Easter. And I hope that you have a fantastic, awesome, amazing series after Easter. And continue to try to get better at what we do. Stay in your lane, vision, develop teams for strategy, and allow those teams to develop leaders for execution. These are all the people that go to your church. They need something to do. That's why they're there. Let them serve. All right? Your job is to create leaders to do ministry. All right? So, Father, I just thank you for the great opportunity of even gathering online. Even though we had some technical difficulties, God, you're still in charge. You're awesome. I just pray for your favor over everybody, Lord God, that would implement any of these ideas. And I pray, God, that you would make these things work. You would be after the heart of that senior leader, that you would draw him or her close to you, God. We thank you so much for the opportunity to serve your church. We thank you so much for the opportunity to be vessels of light to see people that are trapped in darkness freed. So I pray your blessings over everything we do, and I ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, hey, until next time, get everybody riled up around you, man. Get your leaders on the Google Hangout, on the Mastermind next week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to kind of recap from Easter and see how we're going to go from there. I can't wait to see you then. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.